Yo, what's good people? It's TooBizyGaming. We're live, we're direct, and we are in full effect. Yes, we're back with another Final Fantasy XVI video. I'm joined with the legend, another TooBizyGaming member, Shiro, as we went to the secret location and we was invited by Square Enix. The location was amazing and it was so fitting for the actual game. We got hands-on time with Final Fantasy XVI. We played it for about, I think it was like 4 hours. We got to experience different parts of the game, literally just explore till our heart's content as well. We got to play some of the prologue, some of the main story, and also we got to explore the open world, which was absolutely crazy. So in this video, we're going to be giving our first impressions of the game, how we felt about it in comparison to the trailers from when we saw it. For myself personally, I tried to avoid as many trailers as possible, as many reviews. However, Final Fantasy, I hold this franchise very close to my heart. So when we actually got the hands-on time, as much as we were pulling, you know, the infamous gobsmack face when we was indulging in the story and we just enjoyed, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, in this video, we're going to be going back to back, talking about hands-on impressions, breaking down some of the stuff, and hopefully some of your questions will get answered as well. So without further ado, Shiro, let's get into this.
It's good, guys. First off, glad to have me. TBG, doing a lot of things, keeping busy. But let's get to it.
I think obviously with playing the game for the first time, how was your impressions obviously of the game versus the trailers? Like how did you kind of feel about it?
So I'm the same as you in terms of trailers, they have movies as well. I try not to watch too much because trailers these days tend to reveal everything by the time you go and play the game or the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
You feel like you played it all. But with FF, it's been a bit different. I can say that in hindsight compared after playing the game. Initially with the trailer, I thought it would be like another classic FF. Like I played FF7, the remake, Crisis Core, FF15, so I thought it would be along that lane. But after having hands-on with the game, it blows the trailer out the park.
100%. I think, you know, Final Fantasy, they don't miss, like Square Enix, they don't miss with a lot of their games. Not every single entry I think is for everyone, but this one, literally you've hit the nail on the head. Like I've avoided trailers, and you know, I do it with films, I do it with games now. I try and dodge as much as possible just so that I can keep the excitement fresh when playing a game. And yeah, man, like the overall experience of the game has just been banging. Like, you know, I didn't expect the combat to be how it is in the game, and obviously with the trailers kind of showcasing such an intense part of the story, you know, leaving that out, but watching it after playing the game has been like, it's just brought back the excitement and the feeling that when we played it for those 4 hours, I was gobsmacked, bro. I mean, Yoshi P even came up behind us when we was both, we were gassed at one point, thinking, damn, you know, like, can't believe this person is going through this type of trauma. I can't believe this is happening to this character. So yeah, we're gonna try and keep the spoilers obviously to a minimal. So yeah, we
spoiler free.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Little bits and drabs, but nothing too crazy.
Try and keep it humble. Yes, so obviously segueing into the next thing I think I kind of want to talk about is the settings and the story intro. Like I said, we got to play like the prologue, and then we got to play kind of like what happens at the beginning of the story, and then we got to play the open world. But the setting, I think for me, was incredible. The characters were just insane. Like some of how the characters acted throughout the cutscenes, and you know, your interactions that you have with them when you go to speak to them in the hub world and, like, you know, the open world and stuff like that. They were really, you know, they had so much life in them, and I think that is one of the biggest comparisons that we made it to was Game of Thrones. Like, you know, some characters were really snaky, some characters were really you know, they really flexed how bold they were and how strong they were, and it kind of empowered Clive, and that is something that I felt was really dope. Like, I thought it was just cool to see every single character that almost got introduced have so much life. So yeah, that was one thing for me. How did you feel about some of the characters that were shown?
With the characters, I think with Clive, without spoiling too much, his story and his journey takes you on on an emotional roller coaster. But his journey especially gives you a lot of that Game of Thrones element. I'd say my main comparison with him is kind of like the Jon Snow of the story. And again with the Game of Thrones quality as well, in terms of the theme, the OST, the way the characters interact, and even just the scenery, you're very immersed. And while we were playing it for those 4 hours, I was really getting the Game of Thrones vibe.
100%.
And Game of Thrones is amazing. I love it. So it just enhanced the gameplay even more for me.
Yeah, 100%. And you hit the nail on the head again with the voice acting. Like the voice acting was, we played it on Japanese first for like the first like half an hour to an hour, and that was really it was really good. It was really good. Obviously, you know, playing games, especially with Square Enix and these type of Final Fantasy games, like they are really like good when it comes to like the acting and really encapsulating how the character feels with like the voice. I think that the Japanese side was really good, but when we made the switch up to change it to English voice acting, that was when we realized that they hit the ball out of the park with this voice acting. This was crazy. Clive sounds amazing. Some of the enemies sound amazing. You know, some of the characters that you meet sound amazing. Sid sounds like they just smashed it with the English voice acting, and you know, the entire sound setting for the game, you know, the impact of weapons and swords and the clashing and, you know, the arguing and all of that type of stuff. You know, the Ifrit versus Phoenix intro icon fight was like the sound.
10.
Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. It feels heavy. It feels like, you know, you're in danger. It feels that like you're putting another main character in danger without getting too much into it. That fight was just, it was crazy. And, you know, to link it back to what we're talking about with the sound design, the sound team went bananas. Oof. They went bananas with that. So, yeah, they definitely OD'd on that sound, the entire sound part for sure. Like, that was nuts. So yeah, like I guess the sound, game settings and story settings, I think that's all of that out of the way. The combat and the music.
One more before we even switch over, I have to give the props. I just want to mention his name, Ben Starr, voice actor of Clive.
Killed it. Absolutely killed it.
Feels your emotions, like he gets you fully attached and to the character, so everything that he's feeling in the game, you're feeling it.
Smashed it.
I think I even saw something, he said he didn't even make it to the audition. I haven't watched all of that, but I'm so glad that you did. Ooh. You smashed out the part.
Smashed it with that one, honestly. Yeah. I gotta give a round of applause for that one. Yeah, smashed it. He killed it with Clive. You know, the anger, the pain, the sorrow, the emergency, like almost in his voice acting when it comes to certain scenes is just like you really feel it. We played it with the I think it was the PS5 headset.
That's a good shout.
And that was again, you know, I said it before, it was banging. That was brilliant voice acting and just sound design team. You lot went bananas, like I said. But
I just hope it translates.
Honestly, I'm ready. And to experience an entire story with what we just spoken about, I can't wait. That's what I need, man. That's what I need. So so we've spoken about that. We've spoken about music. We've spoken about the settings of the world. Just to touch on that as well, like, you know, you do see a lot of familiar enemies, very similar to like previous Final Fantasy games. You will see some familiar enemies obviously in the game. They look absolutely beautiful in the graphics, like the graphics of the frame rate. It's just
don't get me started on the frame rate, bro. That time when we switched from, what was it, resolution to performance mode?
Ooh, I think it was performance to frame rate. Or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, one of them is like resolution to performance, which gives unlocks the enhanced frame rate.
Yeah, you're right.
That transition, because we were playing it and we were feeling like graphically it looks amazing, but something felt like it was missing. And it had a perfect setup, by the way. The presentation there was amazing. They treated us well.
Fantastic.
Gave us the top equipment. But when you switched over to performance mode, it was like you're playing a different game.
Made a big difference.
Big number one tip: make sure you put your PS5. This is if you're playing on PS5. Performance mode.
100%.
Don't say anything else. has to be on performance. You need that frame rate. It's so crisp.
100%. We actually, when we made the change, we slyly was waiting to see if we could catch a frame drop, and without even saying anything to each other, but there's some scenes where you expect frames to drop and it just didn't drop. And we were just like, we looked at each other, we was like, yo, that was deep. We was like, that was serious. Yeah, that was nice. So that was really cool. So moving forward, obviously talking about the combat, how did you gel with the combat? Like, did you appreciate obviously the direction that they're taking with this game? Did you find any comparisons? Because I've definitely got some comparisons. How did you feel about the combat?
The combat, people that know me, true action combat is definitely my favorite. From normal RPGs into MMORPGs. Shout out to Terra, rest in peace. But FF's taking true action combat to a different level compared to the other games, and I feel like the move was definitely good because it brings in a whole different audience now, because people have complaints in the past that they don't really like turn-based, and then as you can see with FF7 they kind of implemented both, but this one as a true action combat was smooth and it was solid. My best comparison I'll probably give is Ghost. I know it's definitely a high rating,
that's a good one.
When I'm comparing anything, Ghost is my benchmark, and it was just as smooth, or if not better. I guess the only difference is the changing of stance compared to Ghost. But the combat in FF, I feel like if they keep this formula and move on with their next games, it's definitely going to change the landscape and bring in a lot more people. Especially with, I feel like they tested it in FF15, but with this one, they've taken it to a whole nother level, and they've used the PS5's power to its max.
100%.
So, and I feel like it's one of the first games since the PS5 has been out to actually use it to its max. So I loved it. The combat was actually amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that benchmark is fair, and you know, to kind of compare the smoothness of the combat and how it ran in terms of like just the combat with, you know, the combos, the spells, the, you know, mixing things up with like air combos and stuff like that. I think that's definitely a fair comparison. I think a closer one for myself is almost like Devil May Cry. It's it's very rewarding for like perfect play. I love Devil May Cry. I'm a massive fan, but I just feel that like with the I don't know what it's classed as. What did we find out that it was classed as? Was it true real time or something like that?
It was like extreme combat,
something like that, and it's very reminiscent of that. It's super fast paced. It's like I said, it's very rewarding when it comes to perfect dodging or parrying, and you know, you get a lot of reward from that. You know, you get to stagger enemies, you get to change your combos, you get to launch enemy up in the air, use your wolf toggle, and you know, kind of continue the combo, and then once they land, you get to do something else, check that and the enemies behind you, attack them. It's crazy. And obviously the more comfortable you are with Clive, the combo system, you know, the skill system, you're gonna be a menace. And obviously we didn't even tap into the rest of the icons, like they wasn't even available. So yeah, I'm scared to see. I might even get into some type of speed running game with, you know, how quick I can take enemies out. Considering that it's got leaderboards on there, I'm ready to go with this game, man. Seriously. So
even to touch on with the combat as well, I can definitely agree with you with the smoothness and the fluidity. And the combos, as you upgrade your skill tree without saying too much, it gives you more freedom with that. You can get really creative, and that's why I feel like they implemented that leaderboard system, so people can really be expressive and do what they want in the combat.
For sure.
Make the most out of it.
For sure. That's definitely something. I mean, that even leads into like the fact that you can have different builds for Clive. You can kind of spec into the combat, or like the spells, the weaknesses, you know, exploiting enemies' weaknesses and stuff like that. I think that's really important. So assisting with the leaderboard feature, I think that's going to be wicked, especially if you can compare your times with friends, and you know, globally, that's going to be banging. So we've spoken about combat. I think obviously with the combat, the sounds, the voice acting, it just meshes into what you would expect from a Final Fantasy game. Always when they drop games like this to this caliber with this type of budget, honestly, you can expect nothing less. The game operates smoothly. The combat's fantastic. So when you mesh that all together, this is what you get. You get a final product of just greatness. And you know, we're not getting paid to say this. This game honestly just blows it out of the park, like honestly. So so spoken about combat, music, you know, voice acting. What are some of the things that you would like to see, you know, moving forward with the game?
I think moving forward with the game, I feel like they don't need to do too much with it. Maybe, of course, more likely, maybe like a day one patch, listen to the community, maybe see if there's things they can implement. But in terms of other stuff they could add, definitely multiplayer for sure in the future, especially with the leaderboard system. If there's something where you're doing something with your combos, like a ghost mode with like a boss, as you're an icon fighting it, see who can get the high score, or something similar to Comrades from Final Fantasy XV. You can jump in and play with each other. Because with the party system in the game and the way the characters operate, I feel like it can definitely benefit with some sort of multiplayer. Yeah,
good shout. I think having something akin to Comrades is very good. I always felt that Comrades was a good start and could have taken a little bit more cooking, but it was a brilliant start. And you know, something similar to like Strangers of Paradise, you know, where you have 3 people, there's loads of different classes, you can have tons of fun. I think that is definitely a good route, I think, for this type of game to take. So yeah, I think also some collaborations with other Square titles, I think maybe that could be really cool. Something where you might get a different weapon from a different title, a different Square Enix title. I know that Kingdom of Hearts, you know, we got a new one on the horizon, maybe something just to kind of celebrate that. That would be really cool if you can get a weapon or you do like some type of mission. Some people obviously aren't a fan of like the whole Disney side, but I think that would be really cool. You know, I'm always a big fan of games just celebrating other games within their ecosystem. So that would be really cool. I think that's something that I'd like to see.
Definitely. Even another one as well, before we move on, modding. So I know with Final Fantasy XV that on Steam they added a mod toolkit so the communities can create things and put that inside.
Yeah, sick.
Definitely on the PC side for FF16. I definitely hope that could be added on, because the engine they've used to create the game, excuse me, the power of it can really be pushed to its potential, or use its potential, push it to max. And hopefully it could even be on the PS5. I'm not sure how modding works on there, or if it's too difficult, but hopefully in the future, with the things we've spoken about, they could come in as a DLC.
That'd be cool. And even obviously from a PlayStation player, and obviously only spending a lot of time with PC recently, I think that's something that would be really cool. You know, it gives people the freedom to kind of do some stuff, and obviously if it's handed from the actual team themselves, then yeah, you can kind of mess about to your heart content, especially with such a vast game like this. So that would be really cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is our first impressions of the game. We wanted to do something a little bit different with this video. Obviously, not, you know, go on for too long. We definitely can. We can rant about this game till the cows come home, but we're just gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it short, keep it sweet. All of the footage that you've seen throughout the video has been delivered from Square Enix as well. They've blessed us with some brand new footage, so definitely peep it in the background. And you know, listen to us just waffle about one of the contenders for Game of the Year for sure. So
100%.
Yeah, listen, it's been myself, Bizy, and we've been joined with Shiro for the first time. You'll definitely be seeing more of the both of us on this channel, so keep it locked. And when Final Fantasy XVI drops, we will have plenty of content, plenty of streams, plenty of shorts, how to, what's best to do, tips, the lot of it. You'll see plenty of it on the channel, so keep it locked. Please drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment down below of things that you'd like to see, and we'll definitely try and answer and get to it once the game drops. However, it's been Bizy, Shiro, we're out of here.
Peace, guys.
Peace.